know there's fatwa out there today and this ministry and that ministry, but a fatwa will not get you excused in front of Allah. Rasulullah SAW forbid the woman to travel alone. That's it. Even if you're in a group of other women. Now, somebody may say, "Oh, I don't have a mahram." Get married. um, it's you can definitely get married. I mean, you can't get another father, but you can get married, have children after marriage, and so on. And inshallah, you will have a mahram. Um, some people are today they forget, like, oh no, I'm just going to go without a mahram. Who cares? Blah blah blah. And then what happens? There on the way, something happens. May Allah protect us all. They get hassled or molested, and then that shock settles in, and it may be 1 in 100, but I'm not willing for 1 in 100 Muslim sisters to be molested or harmed or raped. No, that's why studies have been done in psychology. Even if a woman, and non-Muslims have studied this, is with like a little boy, like even if he looks maybe 16, 17, whatever, young man, a group of men will be kind of hesitant to attack her. But by herself, even the most weak, may Allah protect us from evil people like him, men would be willing to take that chance. So we say we protect our sisters. We don't want to put them in way of harm. If you have a mahram, you have an uncle, you have a father, you have a brother, you have a son, you have a husband, make them take you for Hajj and Umrah. It's their responsibility. If they're not willing to, then be patient. Allah will give you the reward. If you don't have a mahram and you can get married and have a husband that will take you, that's the best thing. If you're unable to, be patient. Your reward is with Allah for your niyyah, but don't break the rules of Sharia in trying to do something good. And when you go to the haram, remember, you're going with a very pure intention, and many people are there with pure intention, but there are people that work in those restaurants and hotels that have no good intention. They're just there to make money, and they may see a lone woman as a target and so on. May Allah protect us. But we know of these things that go on. The rape rates in America and in the West are skyrocketing, and they've been high, but people just ignore it. People brush it under the carpet. People don't want to talk about it. They put women in places where they can be harmed, and then when it happens, then they're like, oh, #MeToo. Yeah, and again, there's no excuse for anybody to harm a woman. And I mean, if you see a woman by herself as a good Muslim, you have nothing to accept protection for her. But we also know there are evil people out there. And we have to protect ourselves from evil people and protect our women, our children. Allah protect us all.
Does the full moon have effect on you and that it makes you feel uneasy due to the moon? The full moon? Does it have effect on you and that it makes you feel uneasy due to the moon being more powerful and that it makes you more vulnerable to sihr?
That's a deep question. Regarding the effect of the moon on the human, there are studies that have been done in the West by non-Muslims. And interestingly, when you look at the word lunatic, like what do you call somebody that's crazy? You call them a lunatic. That comes from lunar, loon, the moon. When you talk about Looney Tunes, like that guy's loony, that again comes from the lunar calendar, the moon. And that means even in Western society, they have understood that there is an effect of the moon on the human. When you talk about myths and stories, they come, even if they're fake, they have their bases in some kind of a tradition, right? Like vampires are not real, but there was a count or a king that was in Eastern Europe, and you can look him up, that impaled people and things like this, and that's where these legends then developed into Dracula drinking blood or whatever. But even if it's not exactly the way the fake story is, there is an asal to it, right? In the same way, when you talk about werewolves, howling at the full moon and becoming, I don't believe in werewolves, but it does tell you that we do realize that the full moon has an effect. Some studies have been done about emergency calls being higher when there's a full moon and so on, not conclusively. But in the tafsir of Surah Falaq, many of the ulama have mentioned that إِذَا غَاسِقٍ إِذَا وَقَبْ has to do with the moon, and the not just the full moon, but the latter part of the cycle of the moon when it starts to become less, and how magic was done more during that time, and so on. So the full moon itself, wallahu a'lam. I mean, I cannot say without a clear evidence, either from the Quran, Hadith, or a scientific evidence. But from the tafsir of غاسق إذا وقب, we can say that the lunar cycle does have an effect, that the people who do engage in magic utilize that, and may Allah protect us from it.